Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Monday, July 6th, 2026. There is the opening bell for the stock market. We are officially and formally open for the morning. We are I'm off to a slow start here. I don't know if you were on as I opened this presentation, you saw me kind of jumping around with stuff and not as ready to go as I should have been, but we're there. We're up and going officially now. In spite of futures being down in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and then of course it was up in the NASDAQ and the S&P. Right here at the open, the Dow is suddenly up almost 100 points. NASDAQ up 178. Futures were up over 300 for the majority of the morning anyway. And the S&P 500 up 35 is about what pre-market suggested. So we'll see as we trade for the next, 15, 20, 30 minutes if the markets actually settle into a pattern. We're coming off of a big holiday weekend. Arguably the second biggest holiday of the entire year in the United States. I say second biggest because I think Christmas is usually the biggest holiday weekend when it's close to a weekend. New Year's is probably right up there as well, but 4th of July, a big deal. And especially this year where we did in fact celebrate our 250th anniversary of this country. So that was an exceptionally big deal. Even for those of you who are not here in the United States or not part of our country, we love all of our members of Safe Option Strategies, but I hope you had a great long weekend as well, even though you may not have been a part of the U.S. celebration that we had here. The markets just they want to continue being bullish in spite of some sell-off last week. Last week we had the NASDAQ taking a little bit of a hit towards the end of the week, although it ended relatively flat. This is something you don't see a lot in the NASDAQ. As you go back through the history, you see little brief periods where it flattens, but you get some spots right in here for a few weeks. You had it here for about a week, even though the back and forth was quite volatile, quite up and down. You don't see the 5 and 20-day moving average, going parallel like that very often. The NASDAQ index, as you can see on this chart, you're very close to, you're basically getting a technical crossover right now on the RSI. The MACD is just, again, this is interesting because you don't see it a lot. I guess you look back and saw it there, but even that I think is kind of a rare thing where it settles and goes so parallel like that. But we're kind of, the MACD could go either way. The 5 and 20 moving day average, if we get a big day up in the NASDAQ, that could give you a technical crossover, like a full technical crossover to the bullish side. And of course the S&P 500, the Dow looking pretty good, both hitting records last week. Stocks that we are following closely, stocks that we are paying extra close attention to, Micron and AMD, both up today, both up big today. Although AMD is up much, much bigger. From a percentage standpoint, they're both up around $20 a share, but from a percentage standpoint, that's almost double on AMD what it is on Micron. Micron, I got to tell you that several days in a row of sell-off on Micron is still, it's not a head scratcher to me. It's frustrating to me because we had those two big days of sell-off last week on Thursday and Friday was just a killer, just down way, way far. And Micron is back up close to 1,000. It's already a couple of times this morning been above $1,000 a share. And I really do believe that Micron is going to kind of make this bounce off the 5 and 20-day moving average. The RSI never crossed over into bullish territory. I think it's going to make a bounce and be back up this week. Today is certainly a good start to that, trading right at $1,000 a share right now. We needed to be at or above $1,000 a share before the end of the week, and preferably way above $1,000 a share. We got into this trade thinking, the stock was up here in the 11 1150 range and shed so much in so little time. But from a percentage standpoint, you've seen crazier things happen before. And I thought about this a lot towards the end of last week. Why is Micron so down, getting so beat up? Well, when people take profits on stock, oftentimes they look at the position that they are most profitable on. And you're looking at a period of only a few months here where Micron, $400 up to $1,200 a share, 300+% in just a really, really short period of time. So you look at that and you say, well, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense that Micron is where some people would take some profits from, and they certainly did that. They took a lot of profit from it last week. So I think it'll bounce back up. I think today and tomorrow we're going to look at Micron and breathe a little sigh of relief. I'll tell you this though, with Micron, if you're in this Micron trade with us and you're nervous about it dipping back below 1,000, and you rightfully should be nervous about it. I'm not super worried right now, because I think by the end of this week Micron is going to be back up. Maybe not back up to 1,200, but I think they're going to be comfortably back up over 1,100. In fact, I think they'll do that within a couple of days. Right now, up $30 a share, which puts them at $1,005. I would love a lot more cushion than that $5 in terms of being above $1,000 a share. But I think they will get back there. I think we'll be comfortable by the end of the day tomorrow. By Tuesday, we'll be feeling somewhat comfortable about where we're at with this position. But if you're nervous about it, just look at what your investment is in the position and go for a break even. I think Micron will not have to spend very much time above the $1,000 a share mark this week for you to be at a break even in the trade. Now they're down a little bit right now. I mean, they're still up. They're up $16 a share. Already today, just in the 6 minutes the market has been open, Micron has traded as high as $1,007 and as low as $988. That's a $20 a share difference from high to low. But I expect before the end of the day, we're going to be at or above 1,000. And then tomorrow, I think you'll get some more added on to that. And I think we're going to be in good shape. AMD, you should be looking at getting close to that ability to close the trade. Now, AMD, we don't expire on the AMD options until next week, Friday, not this coming Friday. So there's still some time on AMD, but I show in the open position that I have right now, I show that right now, presently, I'm up a little bit in the overall trade if I do my adjusted cost basis on it. And I expect that to only get better as the week goes along. NVIDIA down a little bit today. I'm not too worried about our NVIDIA trade because it's such a longer term trade. We had a nice trade in Palantir last week that we got into and got out of in just a couple of days. And my plan is to get 2, 3, 4 trades out in the early part of this week. I don't know that my expectation is that I'll open 3 or 4 new trades today. I spent a good hour before the open of the market looking at some different things. We're just a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks away from really being fully into earnings season. I guess a week and a day. 1 week from tomorrow, if we look at this earnings calendar, a week from tomorrow, which is the 14th. This is really, to me, the kickoff, the official kickoff of earnings season, when you've got JPM, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. You've got 5 very, very big banks there, big financial institutions that are all reporting on that day, and then things just pick up from there. We get moving along in the week. And after those big earnings on that morning, you almost get a little bit of a reprieve from that number of big companies. But here you've got BlackRock, Johnson & Johnson, Morgan Stanley, so you still get some big ones. And then United comes in on Wednesday after the close. Why was that? Oh, United Airlines, and then United Health and GE. I think we have Netflix after the close on Thursday. And then the week after that, when we get into that next week, the week of the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, not a lot happens on Monday in terms of the big companies that we look at. But starting on Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon, we start getting some of the big hitters going. So earnings season is going to be, it's all earnings season is always interesting. It's going to be as much or more so this year or this particular quarter. Sorry, not this year, but this quarter, because you've got, I mentioned this the other day on one of the podcasts, you've got the first full quarter that saw the effect of the Iran war. So, the first quarter of this year was just you had March, you had the beginning of it, but now you've got April, May, and June that see the full effect of that and the full impact it may have had on companies. And so it's going to be really interesting what happens in terms of how many companies saw a major hit to their bottom line and what their projections are going forward with how fast gas prices came down. Oil prices, you look at oil and gas isn't coming down as fast. Oil's up just a tick, but still, this is lower per barrel right here than pre-Iran war. Not by a lot, but by a little bit. Unfortunately, when oil, you've seen this over and over again, if you paid attention for anything more than a couple of years, um, oil goes up and gas prices quickly go up with it. Oil comes down and gas prices slowly trickle down following. I think it's unfair. I think the people that set those prices, that actual, and I know it's a supply and demand issue, but there are still people who set those prices. And I think those who set the prices, I've said it before, I think they're criminal in the way they do it. And that's all you ever need to look at is how fast gas prices go up with the increase in oil and how slow they come down with the decrease in oil. But gas prices are coming down. I've seen in my neighborhood, now I live in northern Utah. I'm not subject to some of the high gas prices that you see on the East Coast and on the West Coast, especially in some of the much bigger um, in the much bigger areas, bigger population areas. But what I have seen is gas in my area got up to 4.20, 4.30 a gallon was the highest I saw it, and it's already back under 3.50. So it has come down nicely. I'm grateful that it's come down. I want it to be down even farther than that, but I'm not certain that gas won't be back below $3 a gallon by the time we get to the end of summer. And if you get gas on average through the United States under $3 a gallon as we get to the end of summer, we're really going to have a big second half to this year in terms of the market. So it will be fun and interesting to see where we end up with earnings and how that all plays out. As I've been talking, the Dow has moved into slightly negative territory. I'm showing 85 down right here, but on my TV, which should be, more live streaming, I show it only down about 60. But the NASDAQ's still up, still having a good day. AMD still having a great day, and Micron just kind of back and forth right in the neighborhood of that $1,000 mark. Just a fraction below it right now, and then just a fraction above it. So I'm happy if Micron finishes anywhere near 1,000, like within a dollar or two on either side of 1,000 today, then I'm going to feel pretty good about Micron getting up over 1,000 and staying over 1,000 before the end of the week. All right. As much as you're able to, keep an eye on Discord, keep an eye on your emails. I'm going to work over the next couple of hours. I'm going to work on some triple play trades. Probably not going to send out a trade for the Signal newsletter until the end of the day today, meaning I'm going to set it up intentionally for tomorrow morning's open. I've already got several things in mind. I'm going to look at prices and make sure I feel comfortable with where prices are on things. And then we'll get some trades out, and don't be disappointed or upset if we don't get several trades out today. Don't worry, we will get a number of new trades open this week for sure. So have a great rest of your Monday. Be back on live every day this week. Um, and then I'll wait until next week. As I get towards next week, I'll fill you in a little bit on some stuff going on with me at the end of the month where I will be doing a little bit of traveling, more to help family than for personal vacation type of stuff. But I'll let you know on that because the last week of the month is going to be just a little bit weird with my schedule. Not too bad, but a little bit different. So I'll wait another week to give you some updates on that. I'm just teasing it out right now. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks. We'll see you back here live tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.